Crew of the Cyclops. Semper Fortis, brothers. Never again, they say.
Finally, you're awake. Gotta tell you, though, mister, you want to stay on here, you stop making all that noise.
Sorry, but who are you again?
You bang your head or something? I'm Victor Olmsted. I own the place. This place. The Devil's Reef Hotel.
Noise? What noise are you talking about?
I expect my guests to be respectable. Moans, chanting, all that kind of thing. It stops, all right?
Got any proof it was me? It could have been one of my neighbors. I slept like a rock. I didn't hear a thing.
That's exactly what a newcomer would say. Your neighbors are respectable people and would never do such a thing. Don't think your yellow-clad patron means you get away with everything.
You're not exactly friendly with your guests. Aren't we the ones keeping you in business?
All these newcomers after the flood, they're stark raving mad.
What do you mean?
You can't imagine the crazy notes and books I find after they move out. Only thing they're good for is lighting the kitchen stove.
Can I have a look?
I knew it. I tell you, no one sane would be interested. And you want to take a look? Well, fine, fine. Take what you wish.
Okay. So I picked up a lot of stuff, but I don't know where it is. That's a bit interesting. My landlord looks like a fish monster. And I do not know what these icons mean. And there is no explanation. Oh, here they are, okay. This city, no matter how badly the flood damaged it, has an unnatural appeal. I can't stop myself from walking even if it means being stuck by further visions. I went to the eastern part of the Salvation Harbour, near the crossing of Fitz-O'Callaghan Street and Old Church Road, Chicane. The feeling of loneliness and fear was immense. I was a woman locked in a room, infected and slowly rotting. My body turned into something. It itched badly at my face. I had to hold the skin with my both hands to prevent it from growing until I suffocated. I ended up sitting on the road crying until some insmother kicked me and ordered me away. The visions are testing me, playing with my mind. My old forgotten fears come to life. When I was small, I was afraid to stay alone. I thought my parents would leave and never come back. Today I went to the eastern streets of Coverside, and a vision came on the corner of St. Elmo's Lane and Kingsport Street. I felt I was alone, forgotten in a locked room, hungry and frightened. It was so scary to stay inside, but everything was much worse behind the door. Something scratched in the corridor, and there were terrifying screams from outside. I could not run, I could not hide, I just waited for Mum to return. I'm afraid someone stalks me. It started when I visited Western Advent and had a vision at the intersection at Purity Road and Oak Street. I saw mirrors full of reflections and someone trapped, trying in vain to escape. His expressions of fear and panic shook me deeply. After that, a very tall and skinny man started following me in the distance. What troubles me is that I see him in the reflections, but have never caught a straight view of this stalker. I'm sure the police will mock me if I come asking for protection. Seems like it's time to buy a good, trustworthy gun and start to practice. No matter how different my visions may be, they are always so frightening. Today it was man. He left the house in southern Old Grove on Warwick Street, somewhere between Seaside and Hillside Street. Our eyes met, and I immediately felt the burning exaltation, a wild torrent of emotions. I saw him among the monstrosities, touching them, embracing, kissing. The visions were so intense, I bent in two and threw up all my breakfast. He walked past saying something like cursed newcomers, and I prayed he wouldn't stop to help. Even now, when I close my eyes, I see the creatures around this man. Tonight, the air forced me to leave the hotel. The putrid smell of rotting seaweed and fish made it hard to breathe. I remember a huge apple tree and thought it might be nicer there. Moreover, I was afraid that the hotel owner would see my seizures. The visions occurred when I was a few blocks from the apple tree, walking E. Brown Street in Central Shells. Felt like I was drowning. I ran forward, and when I passed the suite of St. Michael's Church, I felt the water surrounding me, pressed and calling. I needed all my will to fight the desire to go to the mare and sink into its depths. I was walking the lumber street on Eastern Reed Heights when it happens again. It's not just a vision but a noise. Hissing radio static, growing louder and louder. Voices from afar were lost in it, crying desperately. Tried not to show how bad it was. I was afraid to reveal it to the locals. The image came after I passed Bullock Street towards Helog Street. The hissing flooded my mind, and I saw a man surrounded by radios talking to them. He was dying, I felt, and when it happened, the vision was gone. I'm afraid of the bathroom and kitchen sink. Each time I want to wash my hands, I tremble in fear. What if they'll talk to me? This began after a vision in Western Reed Heights, nearing the crossing of Avon Ward and Baker Street. I saw a man naked and covered in blood, in a room without doors or windows. Surrounded by the dark holes of the pipes, he was cutting himself piece by piece, feeding those copper mouths. They were whispering with voices so sweet and promising, but full of hunger and hatred. How could he believe them? Could he even escape? And had they noticed me? I can't help but turn around at any noise after what I saw yesterday. I walked down the Murdoch Avenue in Western Advent, and near Oak Street I was hit with an excruciating migraine. My nose started to bleed and the visions came. I saw one man writing a letter and another about to strike him from behind. Somehow I was both the spectator and the sitting man, but no matter how I cried out warnings or tried to move, it didn't work. It seemed I lost consciousness when the healer hit the man's head. It took me several hours to go back to the hotel after. After this vision, I shake in fear at the sound of a child's cry. It happened in Western Reed Heights on Washington Street. I passed Avon Street and was heading towards Oak Street when I saw it. The thing was running so fast I didn't even understand what it was. It jumped from the window and the vision struck me immediately. I saw a man, a doctor, hiding in a room. He was writing something with a shaking hand, something like a last will. And then I saw the thing stalking him, a fetus on thin pointed legs with a little face full of evil and hatred. It shrieked, I can't forget it. The local Innsmouthers scare me a lot. I've never seen a place with so many ill people. Their faces pursue me even in visions. Recently, I was in the northern part of Grimshaven Bay, walking down Whisper Street. I barely made it to Hubert Avenue when the vision came. I stood among many Innsmouthers, disguised as one of them, and listened. Their leader read the story of a captain participating in pagan rites, copulating with savage witches and beasts bringing sacrifices. I still remember his name, Obed. Today I fell asleep on the street. I'm sure it's connected to my vision somehow, because I felt the same nausea and headache as before the strike. It happened in Cobeside, near the corner of Tanner Street and Old Church Road. I felt dizzy, and my mouth was full of bittersweet taste. So a woman with kind eyes giving me a drink and whispering something. Immediately after, I fell asleep and spent nearly half the day lying in the dirt like a hobo. It's a miracle nobody stole anything from me. The hotel owner allowed me to look through the weird notes he found in the rooms of disappeared newcomers. Among them I found several pages from the diary of a man describing his life in Oakmont. He suffered from visions and marked the places where they'd happened. Was he trying to avoid them? Still think that I'm going there. Okay.
Extra, extra. All the news that's fit to print. Buy paper for stuff. Extra, extra. All the news that's fit to print. Buy paper for stuff.
The old papers are by the door. Take them and stop bothering me already.
I think you've got me confused with someone else.
Aren't you a newcomer?
Help me out here. What's the connection between newcomers and old newspapers?
It's cold sleeping in the street, and they come to collect the old newspapers for warmth.
Yeah, I guess I am a newcomer. Charles Reed, private investigator. And I also need your old newspapers, the archive, to be exact.
Ah, so you're the one who cracked the Albert Throgmorton murder case. Nice work. I'm Helen Bland. Say, can you do me a favor? Give me an exclusive interview. You won't regret it. The Oakmont Chronicle is the best newspaper for miles around.
All right, I'll be sure to make some time for you, Miss Bland. Do you still want that interview? I got some time now, if you're ready.
Oh, absolutely. We know that you're the private eye who solved the case, but tell our reader something more about yourself.
I'm a former Navy diver. Served on the USS Cyclops, and well, after the war, I found myself in Boston. I've been a private eye ever since.
Oh, a brave sailor. Well, I imagine you'll get accustomed to local life easily. We have plenty of water around here. Maybe we'll have the chance to work together later. Who knows? And now the big question. Why are you here? What brought you to Oakmont?
Currently, I'm tracking down the source of the psychic phenomenon that's been causing madness and visions all across the country.
Ah, yes. It affected people here, but we were much more concerned with the flood. Though Robert Throgmorton sent an expedition.
Yeah, and then hired me to find it. Ironic, don't you think?
I think that's enough for now. I can't give the readers too much all at once. Thank you for your interview, Mr. Reed.
My pleasure. Maybe I'll do something interesting enough to make the papers again. You never know. See you later.
And where do you have your archive? Okay, so you don't have an archive, so why do I need to get access to your archive if you don't have one member here? Okay. And you know that where it is anyway. Okay, so that's the new page, newspaper. I have to say this map is really, really bad. That's water. I did hear rumors about it, the problems with maps, but this is This is getting in the way of actually playing the game.
Hello, officer.
Well, look who finally decided to show up. If it ain't Charles Reed, the genius that cracked the case of Albert Throgmorton. Captain Caleb Lyons at your service. What can we simpletons do to assist you, Mr. Holmes?
You and I have a problem, officer.
No. Aside from making everyone in the Oakmont Police Department look like idiots, let me be frank, newcomer. You ain't welcome. You slip up, don't cross a T or dot an I, and I'll treat you like every other criminal here.
Okay. Well, can I use the police archive in the meantime?
You can, but only because of Mr. Throgmorton's patronage. And heed me well, you're on mighty thin ice, and I'll be under it when it breaks.